Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, including their pets. This week we lost a true great one of the greatest to ever play the game. Very few people who have ever touched the diamond have had even remotely close to such an impact that this man had, with even remotely any force that's close to the late great Willie Mays. You'll be only remembered as one of the best to play the sport. We here at Trucks in the Pond salute you. We wish that you and your family appreciate every condolence you get, and on top of that, wish that you just truly rest in peace. Thank you, Willie Mays, for helping mold the sport that we love so much into what it is today. Without you, we would not be here. We would not have anywhere near of a focus on defense as we do, and on top of that, just one of the best personalities to ever play the game. Thank you for helping make the people before us fans. We greatly appreciate it. So, Jay, it's almost deadline talk time. I have one thing to ask you.
Go ahead.
Do you enjoy wasting $30 million?
If I had $30 million to waste, I probably still wouldn't like wasting it.
Yeah, well, the Astros did.
Fair point.
Jose Abreu, DFA'd because he is just dead. His bat is dead. For some reason, he came alive in the playoffs last year. He had 4 home runs in the playoffs for them. Other than that, I don't know what this guy could do to even redeem himself. But the Astros have to pay that contract.
Yeah, I think the money's guaranteed.
Yeah, it's guaranteed, but if he gets picked up by anybody else, is that the Astros on the hook for that money? Since he got released? I think it is. I think it's how baseball goes. Because it's past his waiver.
I think you're right. I don't want to give you the wrong answer, but sure. I do think you're correct on that.
Yeah, because I think he's 10-5. Well, he's not 5 with the Astros, but he's 10-5. 10 years in the league.
Yeah.
And then 5 with one team, which was the White Sox. So, anyway, Jose Abreu, screw you. Have you ever seen a manager ask politely to get thrown out of a game? Because I have.
Dude, that was such an odd thing. I still can't believe that.
I watched it, and I went, what the hell just happened? They were talking awfully kindly. And then the best thing ever happened was John Boy stepped in, and John Boy flat out said, "This is the weirdest ejection I've ever seen." He literally said, "Can you please throw me out of this game?" Whatever. The Padres are a very, very weird baseball team. I don't understand that organization currently. You have 72 shortstops on the team, and one of the best talents in baseball. I should say 2, because I'm going to include Machado, even though I dislike him so strongly.
It's still fair to put him in a conversation.
Sure. I mean, with all due respect, he has better numbers than Bryce Harper.
That's still unbelievable.
You know why?
It just doesn't even make sense.
I know exactly why. Because he's been healthier.
That's also true. That's very true.
Only reason. Because you ask every single person on every single team in the league, I don't think they're going to say Machado's a better player.
Oh, no. There's a reason Harper's got as many MVPs as he does.
Yeah. And then we saw another crazy game. This one, everyone stayed in the game. But a 26-run game. The 17-9 game, who was it? D-backs and other irrelevant National League team. Yeah.
No, but the Mets dropped 14 on the Rangers. So that's kind of crazy.
Okay. So yeah, some high scoring runs throughout this past week. I like it. Baseball's doing baseball's thing. People are putting the ball in play, and other teams are not doing
That.
that. But also the big thing, Father's Day weekend just passed. Baseball's biggest attendance record since 2008 was this past weekend.
Insane.
It was a lot. We're talking north of 1.5 mil.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's very impressive. We're bringing it back, man. But yeah, that all being said, I just want everyone to enjoy our voices and faces. Crack open some cold ones and beat this heat with the boys. Take a dip in the pond. Follow, love, react, comment on our socials. Let's stay hot by being cool. Jay, let's talk baseball.
All right, a couple things to start. First off, great job on the Willie Mays tribute. Honestly, there isn't enough that can be said about the legacy that Willie Mays leaves behind. Easily the greatest center fielder to ever play the game. Had one of the most iconic baseball catches of all time off Vic Wertz. And I know Vic Wertz was waiting at the pearly gates going, oh, dude, I'm going to have to listen to this for the rest of eternity. Willie Mays probably gave him a look and said, yeah, watch me tell this story day in and day out to anyone who asks. And Vic's just like, damn it, man. He's like,
you're not wrong. But you're not wrong in the aspect of one of the greatest catches of all time in center field. But also,
dude,
it's become synonymous with that style of catch. Any over-the-shoulder catch is shades of Mays. Someone will say
exactly what it is.
And it's fantastic that you see a guy who left that type of legacy, but it wasn't just from one catch. It wasn't from one play. This guy had one of the greatest, if not top 5 greatest careers of all time.
I think the thing that needs to be said the most is that he is the greatest and greatest 5-tool player of all time.
Without a doubt.
Offensively, 660 home runs. Defensively, stud. He played center field at the Polo Grounds. If you don't know, center field at the Polo Grounds, a home run is like 550 feet to dead center. Home runs to left field and right field, 300 feet at the most. Like, he was manning center field. He had so much area to play defense, and he did it so great. One of the fastest players to ever play the game. Willie Mays, no doubt in my mind, top 3 player of all time. And it is a damn shame that baseball's lost another icon. And, we sit here and, we love baseball. It's obviously, we have a podcast about it.
Do we?
It sucks that, that we never seem to give these guys their roses until this kind of thing happens. And now, listen, people have had this conversation plenty of times that Willie Mays is one of the greatest baseball players of all time.
There's no disputing it. Everyone knows it.
It's always been a conversation.
It can't be taken away from him.
It just sucks that now that he's gone, it's just like, damn, dude. What the hell? It almost feels like all the players of the past that played in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, they're all going. And I mean, there's a couple guys left who have pushed their way into their hundreds or close to at this point. And it's just it just feels like another era of baseball is just gone. And
yeah, I mean, the oldest remaining Hall of Famer is Luis Aparicio. and he's older than the dirt he sleeps in. Because
Like,
damn,
it's
man,
just
he's ancient too. But also, we can't take away from the fact that, in my opinion, we've said this before, we don't give two shits about war here. And I'm
no.
not talking about like with guns and swords and axes and white dudes in charge. I'm talking about baseball war. Wins above replacement. Willie Mays has the highest war of all time.
Yep.
He is the baseball statistics leader all time in war at 156.2 for his entire career, which is just insanity. Because he is, if I'm correct, he's like 4 or 5 war points ahead of anybody else.
Yeah, that sounds. I think second is Babe Ruth, maybe.
Yes, but that's also because Babe Ruth played 2 separate positions. And on top of that, more home runs. But you're also looking at a guy who was the stellar model for defense, played the most demanding position in one of the most demanding fields of all time, and did it better than anybody else ever could, except maybe Andrew Jones.
So, while we're still on the topic of Willie Mays, the one thing I do want to point out, there is a game tonight, and we talked about it before on maybe a couple episodes ago, the game at Rickwood Stadium. Is happening. That's happening as we record, and we're recording on Thursday, June 20th. They interviewed a guy. His name is Bill Greason. He's 99 years old, and he was a teammate of Willie Mays on the Birmingham Black Barons. Now, hand to God, being 100% honest here, I did not know about Bill Greason at all until tonight. This dude was something else. Like, I want to read you this excerpt from the Washington Post because I think this is the most insane thing. As the oldest living Negro leaguer, the 99-year-old Greason resides in a special section of the Seen It All, Done It All department. He grew up across the street from Martin Luther King Jr. in Atlanta.
Oh.
He survived the war in Iwo Jima abroad and the ills of Jim Crow segregation at home. He was teammates in the Negro Leagues with Willie Mays, became the first black pitcher in St. Louis Cardinals history, and spent his later years as a mentor in the minors for Bob Gibson. He was married to the same woman for 65 years before she passed away, sadly, and continues to serve as a minister at his church after 53 years. Insane, man. Like, I am
1 years old.
I am so mad at myself for not knowing about this guy sooner because being a mentor for an easily top 5 pitcher of all time in Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
Like, my God, dude, this dude was legendary.
I mean, I think the only word that describes him is hero.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, legendary is somehow an understatement for that guy.
I was watching the pregame and he threw out the first pitch, and obviously
he threw it out.
He threw the first pitch out. Now, mind you, it's not like a 99-mile-an-hour sinker.
Oh, come on. 1 mile per age. 1 mile per age.
But I hope that at the age of 99, if I make it, I'm still able to toss a ball the way he did. And I was just like, you know what, dude? Said this guy, legendary.
It's all that ministering.
We are now a Bill Greason love podcast, but we are forever known as the Martin Maldonado hate podcast. There's never been a doubt about that.
Oh, I'm fully cool with that. Like, that's just not the respect. That's not the respect.
It's insane, man.
Martin, you should use some of that money that you're stealing and donate that to Drunks in the Pond for some better equipment.
Oh, man. Yo, can we get Martin Maldonado on the pond and tell him that we're accepting donations?
I
All right.
don't think he would want to talk to us after the things we've said.
Dude, he'd come on here and be like, "You scumbags!" But on the topic of Martin, why don't we give him a quick update because we love making fun of him. He's actually batting 9 for 108. He is now hitting. Yeah, he's turning it up. He is now hitting .083. He's out of the sevens. He's still batting under 100, but it's climbing.
He can get a DUI.
I think that's 2 hits in 12 at bats since the last time we gave a reading on him.
He's legally drunk now.
He pull him over. DUI. Get out of here.
Boop.
And my second point, Rich, I gotta tell you, I feel like the worst boyfriend in the entire world.
Yeah, I believe you. Why?
So Morgan went to the Phillies game on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember which day. But either way, she went to the Phillies game against the Padres.
Good for her.
Yeah, I said, hey, go have fun. I'm with the dog. It's all good. No worries.
Kate went yesterday.
Ah, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. My mom was there too.
Aw. Mama.
But so Morgan came home. Obviously had a great time. Phillies smacked the Padres around. I found out later that night or the next day that was the first time Morgan has ever gone to a baseball game.
Oh, what?
I could have sworn she told me at some point she had gone to a game before. Turns out I completely misheard her. She has never gone. So in the years that we've been together, I have never taken her to a game. She goes out with her girlfriends for the night and goes to her first baseball game. And I'm just sitting here like, dude, I suck. As much as I love this game, we have never gone on a baseball date. I'm failing, man. I suck so bad.
Wait, your entire relationship with Morgan, you and I have been on more baseball dates together than you have with your girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. I didn't think that she really liked baseball.
I think baseball is one of those magical sports where you don't need to love the game to go.
That's a very great point.
Very
great point.
And not to be romantic about it, kind of anti-romantic about it, because the way that I'm going to describe it is baseball is kind of a slut. Anybody gets to go. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. You go for the things it offers.
Oh my God.
In reality, what it offers, pretty damn good.
You're telling me that we have a sick obsession with a slut. Nice. Well, I mean, honestly, baseball is a pretty slutty sport because have you seen how Nick Castellanos comes out on a hot summer day, 2 buttons undone at the top?
Dude.
Guy is out there slutting it up.
At any given time, there's well over 50 guys in it.
There's more than that.
I'm talking about the ones that are actually playing, using their hands.
You're talking.
Everyone else is just watching.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's a voyeuristic slut.
So, you said something that I really love, and it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Is that like, how can you not be romantic about baseball? And that leads me to a question for you. Do you remember the moment that you fell in love with baseball?
Give me a second, because I'm sure I know it, but unlike a slut, I know this one's categorized properly in my head. And
Okay.
I know exactly what it was. Just give me a moment to articulate it.
Do you want me to go first then?
Oh, no, I got it right now.
Okay. All right.
Needed to wet my whistle to talk about this slut that we love.
Yeah.
So, I can't remember the exact year, but I can tell you that it was my birthday because it was an away game. I must have been, at the very least, 12, at the oldest, 14. I mean, I always liked baseball. I love playing it growing up, everything like that. But it was at this moment that, like, something my dad always used to do when we watched the games, he would call a home run, or at least say, he's due, he's going to hit one. Well, at that young age that I was, when I was still a strapping young lad, and I did not have back issues, and everything hurt, we had one of the best Met killers of all time on our team. Speaking of sluts, Pat Burrell. A father to a very large majority of Philadelphia's youth.
Yeah. Easily.
So, for some of the youth out there that doesn't know who Pat Burrell is, Pat Burrell was a Met killer. You could just absolutely guarantee either 4 strikeouts or a home run, 2 doubles, and 3 to 4 RBIs in a game, at the very least, against the Mets. So, I remember I was sitting at home. It was on my birthday, and the Phillies were away because growing up, I think I can remember 3, 4 home games since I was in my early teens on my birthday, May 8th. Pat Burrell, first at bat, solo shot up the left. I remember it. This is back when they were in Flushing. Right? Yeah, they were in Flushing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
This
Flushing, New
Shea.
York.
Yeah, back at Shea. That dumpster fire. So, a little bit later, I know my dad's still at work. I give him a call. I give him an update on the score because this is before cell phones and the internet and everything like that. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, just so you know, hang on. Pat Burrell's coming back up." And he goes, "Oh yeah, didn't you say you had a home run already?" I was like, "Yeah, solo shot." And he goes, "Okay," and I was like, "He's gonna hit another one here for my birthday." Boy, did he! Boy, did he! And my dad goes, "I love you, buddy. I got to get back to work. Keep me updated on the game." He goes, "I'll see you in a little bit." I said, "Thanks, Dad. Love you too." That was the moment where I fell in love with baseball. And it's a tradition in my family to love the sport, but that's where it really kind of a little bit more than just fell in my lap, just kind of like crushed me with the adrenaline and the love of the sport.
I like it.
Yeah.
That is a great way to fall in love with the game. Is
absolutely
sharing it with family is one of the best ways ever to fall in love with something. Like I falling in love with baseball was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an entire wall of baseball pictures. I have signed baseballs, baseball books. Like my dad got me a baseball bat, whiskey decanter with 4 glasses on it. The thing is amazing. I love it. I can't wait to fill it up. But the true minute I fell in love with baseball was when the Phillies were playing back at Veterans Stadium, which everyone called a shithole. They were like, it was dirty. It was disgusting. Everything sucked. But you know what, man? It was home. Veterans Stadium was just it felt so comforting being there. And I was so young at the time of Veterans Stadium, but I remember going to games, and I remember Mike Lieberthal and Scott Rowland and Ricky Leday, Rico Bronya, Todd Pratt, all those guys. And there was just something about that team. And mind you, that team wasn't like a World Series contender. Like, they weren't that good.
Not even
But
playoff.
there was something about, like, just the atmosphere, the jerseys, just it's like, wow, man, like, this game is awesome. This game is fun. And I remember just wanting to play baseball in the worst way. And I don't think that feeling ever left, yeah, I played baseball for a couple years. I had fun. It was a great time. But the problem with me is that, like, when I start failing at something, I give up. And, over the years of growing, maturing, you realize you got to push through that, and you got to practice. You got to get better. You got to work harder. And
Mature.
I wish I could go back in time and beat that into my younger self and be like, don't give up on this. Like, if this is what you want, you got to fight for it.
It's a lot of things we wish
And
we knew.
I know. And, that's why I'm sitting here with you right now. We're doing this podcast, is that, we both love baseball, and we both have the drive to make sure that this podcast by no means fails. Like, this is where we're at. And honestly, cheers to you, buddy, because I would not be here if it wasn't for you and Joe all starting this podcast up.
Absolutely, man. This is what we do. This is what family and friends are for.
It's been a great ride so far, and it's only
Yeah.
going to go further.
Dude, I'll keep doing this until we get 2 listeners, and that's just you and me.
I'm
I don't
down.
care.
I'm down.
A lot of people don't realize we created this podcast for one reason only: to hear ourselves talk. No, I'm totally kidding. We created this podcast because of our love for the game, and we didn't want to be anything like any of the other sports podcasts, or let alone baseball podcasts, where it's all stats driven, and basically the only way you listen to that is if you're already a baseball nerd. Jay said it 1,000 times. I still don't know what the fuck it means, but we're not going to talk about X-Woba. Listen, I know baseball better than most. No fucking clue what it is, because it's not important. It's not important to the game. What's important to the game is sitting down at a bar, if you're not at the game, with your boys, with your friends, with your lady, with your kids. In a booth. You don't sit at the bar with your kids. Unless. And just talking about baseball. Talking about it like it's a conversation. Sure, there's some structure here. I use that term loosely. We are not documenting everything we do on Excel documents and Word documents. I'm handwriting my notes. I just love this so much. I will forever talk baseball like I'm sitting at a bar with Jay. I do it 5 days a week if I could.
One of my fondest memories was the day before an opening day. Me and you were sitting at a bar, and I don't even know how we got there, but we were just writing down names of old Phillies players, to the point where it started out on just like on a receipt paper.
Yeah.
And then it turned into an entire notebook. And we had other people at the bar throwing us names.
Yeah.
We started
I want to say a year. I want to say this is like.
This had to be like 2018, 2019.
We went to Boston in 2017 together.
Yeah.
So I want to say this is maybe 2018.
That might be right.
Yeah.
It's so long ago, but I just remember just sitting at that bar stool and just us just going back and forth, jotting down names. And
Dude, we were there for a solid 4.5 hours doing it.
yeah, like the coolest part is that at some point, other people were just like, what are these guys doing?
We had
so
a group. We had a group of like 6 guys surrounding us, be like, "Oh, Rico Bronya." It's like, nah, he's already on here. Oh, JC Romero. We got him,
dude. Just throwing out names, and
Robert Person.
It was crazy because like this little receipt paper, it's just like it told a story that transpired into a notebook. Like we took that paper, put it into a notebook, and we kept the list going. And I really wish I could find it. And just because that night was so awesome. It meant a lot to me to be able to do that.
Did you start that new notebook and then turn it into your diary?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either because, I mean, fantastic read.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. I mean, come on, dude. I know you're a lovely kid, so I know you have some lovely stories. And at the end of each night,
I got some.
At the end of each night, when you're done writing your diary, you say, "I love baseball," and then you close
I love this fucking game.
And then you close your diary. You put it underneath your baseball pillowcase on top of your X-Men sheets, and nothing is better. Nothing is better. I mean, it's just so pure. Speaking of pure, guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It's the fun fact of the night.
Dot? Was that you?
No. It was me. So, Alec Bohm.
Ooh.
Raffy. Mr. Long Neck, Long Fingers himself. In 54 games this season, with Brandon Marsh playing, Alec Bohm is hitting .330 with an .888 OPS. In 16 games without Marsh while he was on the IL, he's hitting .239 with a .726 OPS. For those stat nerds out there, that's drastically different. Also, for another fun fact, in addition to that, he has 9 double plays that he's grounded into across the 70 games this season. 5 of those in the 16 games without Marsh. I mean, I find it very odd that the two roommates aren't in the same band. And I guess maybe Alec just doesn't have musical talent, or he just can't fit in most luggage because of how big he is, so they can't bring him on tour. I don't know. But why is Marsh not playing every single game so we get the best Alec Bohm that we possibly could? Because clearly, when that guy is in left field and you hear behind Bohm, and Bohm's just going, God damn it, Brandon. You're so silly.
You know Bohm loves it. You know he does.
He does, but we all know that Bohmer is 100% the serious of the two.
Oh, for sure.
He is
absolutely.
Yeah, listen, man. My mom's in the stands. Don't make fun of me today. Don't do anything weird. And Brandon's like, not a chance. Not a chance. I'm going to poop in your ear.
See, I kind of see it as like stepbrothers a little bit.
Absolutely.
Where like Alec Bohm is Will Ferrell, Brandon Marsh is John C. Reilly, and the parents are like Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto, who are kind of serious but like know how to have a good time. Like Bohm and Marsh come running in the bedroom. It's like, hey, I know we got like a 1:00 game tomorrow, but like, can we build bunk beds?
Can we turn our beds into bunk beds?
Yes.
And they're like, guys, it's going to be a long day tomorrow. I think you should get some sleep. They're like, we'll be like really quiet, but like, can we build the bunk beds? They're like,
I'm not making myself clear. I don't give a fuck.
he's like, go build bunk beds. Like, perfect roommates, man. It's so cool.
Like, you literally just see the, can we?
They're like, so what you're saying is, and JT's like, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Sweet.
You can.
You're not going to regret this.
And then you got Bryce going, no power tools.
No power tools.
You know what? I forgot I have to brush my teeth.
That is not your toothbrush.
God, could you imagine living in a house with those four? Do you know how pissed off Bryce and JT would get just walking behind the snail trail that Marsh leaves with his hair? Literally, there's just a 37-foot hallway because they're all rich. So a 37-foot hallway of just his hair wet drippings. And it's like, dude, it's 2:30 in the morning. You showered 3 times tonight. Go to bed. And he goes, but I need it wet. Shut up and go to bed.
It's like, go to sleep.
It's
The
just
one thing
glorious, man. It's just absolutely glorious.
The one thing I love the most is that, you know, when they were like 2 or 3 years ago, they were the Phillies daycare.
Yeah.
Like Marsh, Stott, Bohm, Moniak when he was here.
Nah, don't even consider that.
I love Mickey. Still love him.
He was a transfer kid that showed up the last month of the year.
I wish him all the best.
As do I. But come on, he was never here.
It'll always feel like they're the daycare. And every time we get like these younger players, it's just like, you know what? You are also in the daycare. Like now it's Bomer, Stott, Marsh, Pache, Rojas when he's up.
Yeah.
Like there's so many kids on this team that are being supervised by Schwarber, Castellanos, JT, and Harper. Like
And
they
most
are
likely,
the guardians of this team, and the rest of these kids are on sugar rushes running wild.
Oh, absolutely. They're all donuts and candy for breakfast. And Castellanos is literally just watching Marsh slam his head against the locker. And Kyle's like, why are you letting him do that? He goes, let him figure it out.
Like,
let him figure he shouldn't do that. Let him figure it out. It's like dude, he's got to play tonight. He'll be fine.
You can't hate this team. Like, you can't. Like, when you see the team in funny situations like this, where the older people or the older players are the guardians and the younger players are just like the daycare, like you could just imagine like Stubbsy taking the daycare and just running wild in whatever city they're in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Harper and the boys are all saying goodnight to their wives at like 8:30 p.m. Meanwhile, Bohm's giving fucking Pache a back suplex off like the hotel like ledge pool. They're like, guys, you gotta get some sleep. They're like, yeah. In a little bit, we're building forts. And it's like, all right, dude, whatever.
And then you got Stubbs going, dude, it's 11:15. Who wants to go line dancing?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, dude, we have an 11:30 game tomorrow morning. Line dancing's easy. It's not going to be too much on us. Let's just go do it. Meanwhile, there's 17 pitchers of beer for 3 dudes.
Like Stubbs, like, who wants to go line dancing? And everyone's like, I don't know how to line dance. An hour later, it cuts to them line dancing to "Don't Break My Heart" by Billy Ray Cyrus. And you're like, this team, dude.
How do they all know it already?
You can do anything when you're drinking, man. Like, that's how it is.
You mentioned it already. This team just has a chemistry unlike we've ever seen. But also, don't forget, like, there wasn't anywhere near as much social media as there was in 08, 9, 10, or 11. We didn't know what those guys' fuck around lives were like. But also, I don't think any of them fucked around.
Yeah.
They were all baseball. I mean, sure, they had their fun, but you just didn't see the same type of energy and
No.
just kind of youth and love. Like, I can't see Utley being like, all right, guys, let's have fun.
Yeah, it was a whole different ballgame for that 08
Yeah.
club. Like, like, they definitely had, like, some clowns on that team.
Sure.
But, like, the 2024 Phillies is like, you might as well pull up in a punch buggy and just unload the team out of the car. Like, it's a full-blown circus.
Absolutely. So, like, that being said, the chemistry is an all-time high. How big of an effect does the trade deadline have on that?
Unfortunately, it has a huge impact on it because it's slowly becoming abundantly clear that the Phillies have needs that we thought, well, not that we thought, we hoped that could be filled by calling players up,
Internally, yeah.
Which hasn't really worked out. I mean, listen, I like David Dahl, but David Dahl is not the answer.
David Dahl's not a starter anymore.
No.
He's a very decent bench bat. That's about it.
Rojas has been very hot or very cold, and with him still having options remaining to go down, it only made sense that he took the hit. So obviously we have to go out. We have to get another outfielder. So, we could definitely use another bullpen piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think these things are going to happen. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't want any specifics. Okay. I don't want to know where you think they're going to go. I don't want to know who they're going to get traded for. I just want to know who you think across baseball has a new team come end of July.
End of July.
Give me a couple names. See if they match up with what I got.
Obviously, number one is going to be Luis Robert.
If anybody can meet their requirements.
I think someone out there is going to make that trade.
And you have to force the hand. It's not going to be as much. It can't be with how unhealthy he's been.
My number two, this is going to sound crazy, but with the injury that happened today, it doesn't seem so nuts anymore. I was going to say Alex Verdugo for the fact that he was only on a 1-year deal for this.
Yeah.
And with the way that Jason Dominguez was hitting the ball in AAA, I figured they would trade Verdugo, get a couple extra pieces, call up Dominguez, and that way your outfield is Soto, Dominguez, and Judge. But now with Dominguez out for the next 2 months or so, it seems like Dugo's going to stay.
Oh, you mean the forever prospect, Jason Dominguez?
We will get to him later, I promise.
Yeah, all right.
Taylor Ward, I can see. I feel like Taylor Ward's definitely going to get moved.
You need to change the scenery.
It's going to sound weird, but I'm going all outfield here. I think Lane Thomas on the Nationals, another guy that could use a change of scenery. He's not having a bad year. He's not having a great year, but a change of scenery will definitely help him out.
Sure.
Those are my three.
All right.
Two. Who do you got?
So I'm going to give you one wild card and then 3 players.
Okay.
This wild card, I think, is a big one. Jose Barrios.
Ooh.
I think he gets shipped out before Vlad or Bo.
I could see that.
It's a better contract to move. And it's going to be smarter in the long run. I mean, I just think it's a better move. So I got Ryan McMahon. How many teams need infield help? And on top of that, the dude plays almost every position in the infield except shortstop because cement shoes.
I like Ryan McMahon.
Everyone should. He's got a great bat, little unhealthy, but he's got a great bat. Randy Rosarena. I think he's out. I think he's out of Tampa. I really do.
Wow.
He's having such a piss poor year, but he's one of those guys, much like Tyler O'Neill. Home run or bust. No one's really been getting on base in front of him, so his RBI total's not great. He's not stealing like he used to. I think he just wants to change the scenery. Because also, let's face it, he's not going to get a payday from the Rays.
No. That ship has long sailed.
But I really do think the biggest name that gets moved, and I really do help or hope it happens, Ryan Helsley, closer for the Cardinals. They're having a little bit of a resurgence, but it does not last. Not with that pitching staff that is, ironically enough, older than me and you. And
everyone in that rotation, yeah.
I think there's one guy who is closer to your age, and he's not having a great year. And then Sonny Gray just absolutely shit the bed recently with one of the worst starts by a frontline premier starter of the season. I think we finally see Helsley move away from the Cardinals. It should be a decent haul. I think he's still got a couple years in his contract. But you're also getting a power, lights-out closer.
I would take Helsley on the Phillies if it didn't cost Aiden Miller or Andrew Painter.
Sure.
I mean, obviously his price is going to be nuts. Speaking of which, I did see something today that was very interesting, and me and you both know of him because he grew up around where we were. Guess who is number 98 on the top 100 prospects in baseball?
Bonner kid?
Kevin McGonigal.
Kevin McGonigal, man. That kid's got some absolute pure talent.
Dude, he's one spot ahead of Starlin Caba, and I was like, all right, Kev, go ahead, do your thing. And it's funny because
fantastic.
In his bio or whatever, it literally says like huge fan of Chase Utley, and he's modeled his game completely after him. And I was like, yeah, I'm telling you, you model your game after Chase Utley, you're going to be a top prospect. There ain't no doubt about it.
But also, you're probably going to have a very unorthodox swing, and people are going to say you shouldn't do that. But keep up with it if it works, buddy.
So, quick shout out to Kev McGonigal. Congratulations. Keep up the good work, and the Tigers got a good one.
Dude, Delco proud, brother.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, man. I really do think this trade deadline is going to be a little bit more different than most because you have 12/15ths of the NL being potential sellers.
Probably a little bit less. Probably a little less, but yeah, something like that.
You got 3 good teams. That fourth one is very mediocre. The Cubs are just absolute shit this year, man. How do they have the 3rd worst record in the NL?
Dude, the National League this year is just a big ass joke, man.
What happened, dude? What happened?
I don't know.
There's so many teams with quality talent across the entire NL. And it just looks like everyone's like, baseball? And
I'll be honest.
Playing like shit.
If the National League is so bad that Paul Skeens and Jared Jones both get in the playoffs, I am A-okay with that.
Sure, so am I.
Paul Skeens in his first year helped carry the Pirates to the playoffs. I am all in. 100%.
Listen, this may also be the very first year. I can't remember the actual year, what season it was, but I remember the last trade, that the Pirates are buyers. Like the last trade,
Years.
the Pirates were buyers, and like they got what they wanted was Chris Archer.
Jesus Christ. Which is crazy because Chris Archer on Tampa Bay was a different animal.
Sure, but now one of the animals they gave up is pitching for the Dodgers in Glass now.
Oh, like Tyler Glass now.
Everyone should. I think he's good for the sport. He's young. He's fun. Got an electric arm. I'm happy he's healthy. It's refreshing to see him healthy. I mean, as of right now, we're seeing quite possibly the best Tyler Glasnow year to date.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's pretty agreeable.
He's in the top 10 pitcher rankings, which I don't typically believe in or follow because that's just a bunch of dudes being like, they should be in the top 10. And then, yeah, there's always guys that are left off. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of it's disputed because they just go by the very in-depth stats compared to the point categories.
Yeah.
But the point categories are not as sexy or impressive anymore because of the true nerd.
Where are they? I think they're talking about us. No way.
No, I agree 100%. Like
It's the game's changed.
It has.
And especially when it comes to all these stats and stuff, they're not as important. Like, I mean, shit, Corbin Burns beat out Wheeler for the Cy Young 2 years ago with an 11-5 record and almost 70 less innings.
It's grown before our eyes, man. There's no stopping it.
I mean, shit, what was the year DeGrom won? But the most recent year DeGrom won. He had, what, 11
19,
wins?
maybe? That sounds about right.
I think he had less than 11. He might have had 10.
No.
I think it was the lowest ever for a Cy Young. But
let me check.
Yeah,
I'll double check that.
But, dude, that was also an unprecedented year because DeGrom was one of the most dominant pitchers I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've watched Halladay, I've watched Santana, I've watched Sabathia. Like, I watched towards the tail end, Randy, Schilling. Like, those are dominating pitchers. That year DeGrom had was one of the best. Oh, shit, I forgot Kershaw. I'm sorry.
So, I got you right here. And it's kind of crazy. In 18, when he won the Cy Young, he had 10 wins. In 19, when he won the Cy Young again, he had 11 wins. So he had a 10-win and 11-win year, and he won Cy Young in both. Which is nuts because in 2018, when he won the first one, he was 10-9. He just happened to have a 1.7 ERA.
Which is disgusting.
And 269 strikeouts. When he won the second one, he was 11-8 with a 2.4 ERA and 255 strikeouts, which is absolutely insanity that with a record like that, he won Cy Young.
But that's one, I think the only award in baseball that does not need to go by wins or like individual wins is Cy Young.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so stupid because, I mean, shit. Imagine if Ranger Suarez was 1-10, but he still had all of the same stats.
Yeah.
It's not because of him that he's 1-10. He's still the best pitcher in baseball. It's just he's the most unluckiest pitcher in baseball.
Hi, Reese Olson. How are you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Mr. I'm going to be, 2-17 by the end of the year.
I'm so afraid to look up his stats because last time we talked about him, he was 1-6.
Yep.
But now I'm actually interested.
It's called
Reese Olson. Oh God. Oh, it's only getting worse.
2-8.
1-8 with a 3.39 ERA.
That's still great numbers, though.
It's really good numbers. He just cannot get run support at all. That's brutal.
Oh, dude, I had some guy the other day when I was at work. I was talking baseball with a customer, and this customer knows what they're talking about. But some other random guy kind of butted in. And he goes, yeah, but dude, they're in the AL. And I was like, so? He goes, they have an extra hitter. And I was like, dude, where have you been for the past 3 years, dude? Come on, man. He goes, what? I was like, the NL has a DH too. Do you not remember the fact that half of this city was nearly on fire bitching that we had a $330 million DH?
How could we forget?
In retrospect and in hindsight, it's a lot better than $700 million DH.
So brutal.
Which is crazy that as of right now, the MVP race is going to come down to this is
3
your
deep
facts.
designated hitters.
It's going to come down to Ohtani and Harper at the end of the year. Ohtani's WAR. Sorry, guys, but this is what everyone cares about. Nerds.
Homer, that isn't very nice.
Marge, try to understand. As a jock, it is my duty to give nerds a hard time.
Ohtani's WAR is like 0.3 better than Harper's, but Harper can pull it back because he actually does something that Ohtani can't. Throw the ball.
Fair enough for me.
And might I add, in his first full season as a first baseman, he's doing a damn good job.
Bro, he's had a couple picks over at first that are like, yo, my man looks like he's been doing this shit for at least 5 or 10 years already, and this is his first full season at first bag.
He looks like a less ogurely Freddie Freeman.
That's a fair point.
I mean, Freddie Freeman is the weirdest body ever. But goddamn, man, he plays one of the best first bases I've ever seen and hits one of the best baseballs as a first baseman I've ever seen. I love that guy to death. I love him and his perfect smile.
We all love Freddie Freeman. Kevin Nash? Is that Kevin Nash breaking into my house right now?
No. Oh.
Scott Lawson? Is that you?
No, that is our favorite supervisor at Lids telling us they have great WWE merch. So, let's kick it over to Joe for 3 Up, 3 Down.
Greetings and salutations from Drunks on the Pond. This is Joe. So going to give you another dream lineup today. And my last one I did from 1988 to 2010. This lineup's just going to be players playing right now in 2024. So going off that lineup, again, I'm not saying these are the best guys, but this is just the guys that I would want to build my team around. So here we go. Leading off, even though I just saw the note about 5 minutes ago that he got hurt. But Acuna is going to lead off for me in center field. I mean, 40 home runs, 60 stolen base season. Current MVP. He's on the Braves. I don't like that, but I love him as a baseball player. So he's going to lead off for me. Batting second, at second base is Luis Arias. I love this guy. He doesn't hit home runs, and that's okay. I mean, the guy won a batting title. He's batting over 300 all the time. Like, if there's anybody that could bat 400 out of anybody playing right now, I mean, it's Luis Arias. Like, he's great. And now he's on the Padres, makes that team a whole lot better. Batting third is a generational talent. Got to go with Ohtani. I mean, I've seen Ohtani play many times. The guy's amazing, even with 1.5 arms. I can't talk enough about how great Shohei Ohtani is. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. So Otani's going to bat third for me. Batting in the cleanup spot, first baseman Bryce Harper. Dude's got ice in his veins. I mean, come on. Like, that game-winning home run in the NLCS against the Padres, God, still gives me chills. Little biased being a Phillies fan, but Harper's the man. And even, just ask Orlando Arcia, because you don't tug on Superman's cape. And that stare down was one of the coldest things I've ever seen on a baseball field in my life. So Harper's going to bat cleanup for me. Batting fifth, third baseman Jose Ramirez. I mean, the guy's an RBI machine. Like, I can't believe I have him batting fifth, to be honest with you. Dude's great. He's a great player, great baseball player. So I need him at third base. Batting sixth, left fielder Yordan Alvarez. I mean, the guy hits the ball a country mile. As long as you don't have any trash cans around him, he's going to be okay. But yeah, Alvarez in the sixth hole for me. Batting seventh, and again, like, I can't believe I have this guy batting seventh, but I got Judge. All rise. Aaron Judge and Wright batting seventh. Again, this dude just hits the ball a ton. As long as he stays healthy with that toe, he's a star. I mean, kind of came late into his career, very Ryan Howard-esque, but dude, it's you can't beat Aaron Judge, dude. One of the loudest, not one of the, but the loudest back crack I've ever heard live was when I saw the Yankees play the A's, and that is, I believe, his only, but it was definitely his first grand slam. It was opposite field, and it was a laser off him, dude. It was just flat out, just, again, kind of to sound redundant, but it was a laser. So that's Judge in the seventh spot. Eighth, behind the plate, catcher J.T. Realmuto. I mean, there's nobody better. Guy plays every day, throws people out, great defensively, 280 hitter. He's everything. He's everything you want a catcher. Batting ninth, for those of you who know me, I love me some Bo Bichette, but he's kind of struggling right now. So I got to go Ellie De La Cruz at short. Dude's a speed demon. I love him at 9, too, because that adds me an extra leadoff guy with some speed. So Ellie De La Cruz in the 9 spot for me. Rotation. I mean, you can go. I mean, it's a 1 and 1A for me, but right now I have Garrett Cole, would be my opening day starter. Guy's lights out. Number 2, Zach Wheeler. He's having a great year. I will apologize now because when the Phillies signed Wheeler, I wasn't a big fan. He had never had an ERA like under 3.5. I just didn't think it was a great signing, and I will eat crow for that for a very long time. Corbin Burns is going to be my third starter. I mean, again, nasty stuff, Corbin Burns. 4, since, I have Otani, I feel like I'm obligated to have him pitch, so he's going to be the 4 spot. Again, he's our Babe Ruth. Otani is just amazing. And then 5 is a little bit shocked to everybody, but Paul Skeens is he's going to be lights out. I better sign him up now, long term, because dude, I saw his major league debut. He did all right, but the last start he had was just phenomenal. I think he had 5 no-hit innings, 4 no-hit innings, something like that. The dude's going to be a stud. And you Pittsburgh fans better buy your jerseys now because he's going to be gone in 4 years. And then closer, you got to go Hader. Hader's another one lights, as long as he doesn't pitch more than 1 inning, because he doesn't like that. But I got Hader in the 9th. So again, may not be the best lineup. You guys may have a different lineup than me, and I'd love to hear your opinions on my lineup and who you would put in between or instead. So yeah, that'll end the inning, as I say. And having said that, cheers.
You know what? I don't care what you said about him. I think he's one of the best people who could pull off a straight porn mustache. We're back. All right. Joe, thank you so much for everything you do. You are just, I think you could pull off a great porn mustache. You are just so cute. Everything you do. I miss you, buddy. I want to hug you. And thank you for those coupons. They really came in handy for Father's Day. You're a sweet pea. Thank you. Jay, you mentioned something earlier, and I said something, and then you said, let's get back to that. The forever prospect.
Oh God! All right, so I was scrolling through MLB.com today, and I saw the breaking news that Jason Dominguez, or as he's called, the Martian, is out for the next 8 weeks with another injury. And it got me thinking, it feels like Jason Dominguez has been a top prospect for at least the past 5 years or so. And he's already debuted in the majors. And from the backlash I got, he only played 8 games, which means he's still a prospect. Okay, I'll give it the old 50-50 on that. But my God, dude, is he ever going to be healthy at this point? If you've been on the top prospect list for 5 years and you've been hurt majority of the time, brother, it's come on, man. I just, how much longer do we have to wait for Jason Dominguez to be healthy and in this lineup? And it's funny because we talked about this earlier with the deadline shit. Right now, your Yankee outfield consists of Soto, Judge, and Verdugo. Verdugo and Soto are both on expiring contracts. We know what Soto is going to be asking for. Verdugo's up in the air depending on how this year goes. I do not see the Yankees bringing back Verdugo. I think that's abundantly clear if they plan on Dominguez being a starter next year.
Plus,
Soto,
let's also face it, do we want to see Verdugo without a beard ever again?
Nah, dude, he looks weird. He looks so
creepy, dude. Listen, I actually love Alex Verdugo. I need him to have a beard, so he is tolerable to look at.
It's one of those things where it's I'm kind of getting tired of the whole Yankee no facial hair thing, but when they're allowed to have a mustache and you can pull it off as good as Matt Carpenter did that one year, I am all for it, because Matt Carpenter had a straight caterpillar on his lip and he was crushing the ball. So, you know what? It's kind of 50-50 on that point. But, dude, if Jason Dominguez cannot stay healthy, how much longer are we going to sit here and kiss this dude's ass being good at baseball? Because it's been years, bud.
I'm over it. I mean, shit, they had his future stars card in MLB The Show, what, 19?
Probably 19 or 20.
Yeah. So, listen, dude. Listen, I know you're 23 now. You've been Rubbermaid that's been in the microwave for 67 minutes. You are just weak and foldable, and just everything about you is sad. I don't care what your career numbers are, what you were doing in the minors. I mean, 389 in AAA with 2 homers, 3 RBIs. Meh. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. But don't care. It's the minors. We've all seen what players can do in the minors compared to what players can do in the majors. It's not the same.
No. We've seen it firsthand with Jake Cave.
Jake Cave is the best quadruple player ever. He should be well above AAA, but way below the MLB.
If there was a AAA Hall of Fame strictly for AAA numbers, Jake Cave's first ballot. There's no fighting that.
I mean, I did feel really bad for the Rockies the other night when Jake Cave.
Yeah.
Jake Cave had his absolute blow up, just absolute meltdown in right field for good reason.
Oh yeah, that was 100% justified. But
Teoscar fully swung, and then they were like, "No," and he was like, "What? I got another chance? You said free parking. What?" And he got free parking. He got free parking, and guess what he did? He collected $200.
He parked that ball right into the fucking opposite field
and
bullpen.
Then Jake Cave went on a tirade, and I'm pretty sure Jake Cave got an extra 68 gray hairs in his beard, and he is much younger than me. Not much younger, but he's younger than me. He's just seen some shit. My girlfriend Kate always says that he is a Vietnam vet, and he's seen some shit.
Here's the thing. I have absolutely nothing against Jay Cave. Last year in the playoffs, Jay Cave brought the vibes with Garrett Stubbs, and it was fun to watch. Like, if Jay Cave was just a little bit better at baseball, I would have had zero problem keeping him on.
No. Not a little bit better at baseball. A little bit better at Major League Baseball.
There you go. A little bit better at playing at the major league level. Okay, that's fair. I mean, the guy didn't do much, but he was at least entertaining. He hit a triple and immediately did the upside down sunglasses, and I was like, yeah. I was like, that is a man of culture right there.
Absolutely. You know what that means? That means that man likes to have fun.
That is a man that Garrett Stubbs would be roommates with, and him and like another guy would have thrived with the daycare.
He did.
That's true, he did.
He did. He had a whole year and a half of them.
I mean, but back on the topic of Jason Dominguez, though, I'm tired of this whole top prospect thing. I get it. The Yankees have high hope for him. And listen, he could easily come up next year, hit 45 home runs, and make me look like an asshole for this. But until he's actually healthy, what is Jason Dominguez? And that leads me into my next point of someone who has ultimately struggled to stay healthy. But when he is healthy, he is an absolute stud. And we're talking the Minnesota Twins, Royce Lewis, who in the first game of this season got hurt.
Rolls Royce.
Since he's been back, this is insane. In 50 at-bats, he has 19 hits. 8 of them are home runs. He's got 13 runs scored, 12 RBIs. He's slugging 900 with an OPS of 1.339. His batting average is 380. We've seen this kind of numbers from a teammate of his in Byron Buxton. When he's healthy, stud. But when he's hurt, it does absolutely nothing for the Twins.
It does nothing for the sport of baseball. When you have that much talent and all you ever do is ride the bench in pain, or you're in the minor leagues rehabbing. Like, you do nothing for the game when you have that much GD talent. Like, it's so hard to watch.
My biggest question for you is, do you see a little bit of Byron Buxton and Royce Lewis with the injury concerns? Or is that just me?
I mean, it's not that I see Buxton in him, because Buxton's black and Royce is white.
Are we sure he's white? Like,
I don't think I've ever seen anybody not named. I don't think I've ever seen anybody named Royce who is not white.
I actually have a friend from high school. Shout out to Royce if he ever listens to this. Really good dude.
That's awesome. I stand corrected. But no, I don't. It's not that I see that. It's more along the lines of, I think Royce has been unlucky. I think Byron is just unconditioned.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because Byron has a lot more speed. He's more of an athlete than just a baseball player. I mean, Byron has some of the best hands, potentially, could have seen in our lifetime in the outfield. Who's to say that he wouldn't have been an amazing receiver? He's got some of the best speed I've ever seen in a player. Who's to say that he couldn't be, that incredible down-court threat? Like, dude, Buxton just has immense athletic ability. Royce, I'm pretty sure he played football or something like that, because with the name Royce, I feel like he played football somewhere in the Midwest. But I'll tell you right now, Royce is a baseball player. Like that kid has immense talent as well, but I feel like his baseball talent outshines all of his other sports talent.
Okay.
It's
I like
kind of the opposite of Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. They were more meant to be quarterbacks. Well, Russell Wilson was until Denver, and Kyler Murray was until his second season.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
No,
I think Royce is one of the best players to watch in baseball right now. I just hope he stays healthy. I really do.
I think a healthy Royce Lewis is the type of player who can definitely lead the Twins into a nice deep playoff run. And
Their pitching's been
big
great.
knock on wood that he stays healthy.
Their pitching's been very good this year.
I agree.
Their offense has been surprisingly not even bandaged. More along the lines of just balanced throughout their lineup this year. Twins are a solid team, man. I give them a lot of respect. They're a solid team.
Yes. 100%.
Like, no one outshines anybody really on that team. No one is like their superstar. Even Royce, I mean, it's just, it also doesn't help that he's never played a full season. And neither has Buxton. But Jesus, man, you just look at that lineup and you're like, that's a pretty damn good lineup, man. Like, I'm not complaining about any of this. Like, that's a pretty damn good lineup. And the Twins, I've always liked them. But also, to be fair, I've been a Twin fanboy since Torrey Hunter and Jock Jones patrolled that outfield. That was good days.
Jock Jones.
Jock Jones.
That's a name you very, very rarely hear anymore.
Dude, Jock Jones, man, he had some solid years in the outfield, man. He was a great ball player. I really enjoyed watching him play. Shit. Don't forget, where did the Phillies get Ben Revere from?
Minnesota Twins.
Dude, they are, for some reason, a fucking fantastic outfield factory. They've had really good outfielders for years. I mean, you even got Max Kepler. Max Kepler has been not anywhere near what his talent ceiling was, but he's been solid. He's been a solid player. They've just always been good. I can't remember the last time I remember watching the Twins and being like, that's a bad team.
It's definitely been a while. They've held up pretty strongly within the past decade or two. And
you know what?
Shout out.
Maybe the last time they were a bad team was the year they traded away Johan to the Mets.
That would be probably my best guess on the last time that they were actually a bad team. You know what? I actually want to look up when's the last time they finished in last, because I want to see if we can name a couple players off that team.
Sure, hit me, dude. Let's do it, man. Because you know me, I got that brain that just remembers shit I shouldn't. That's why I took algebra 3 years in a row. I'm not dumb, guys.
Dude, I'm still waiting on my test to come back, and so far it's not looking too hot.
Jay, for Christmas this year, I'm getting you a jacket that makes you hug yourself all the time. It's white. It's really nice.
Okay.
Not great this time of year.
I'm going to pull up the page, but I'm not going to look at the roster because I want to see if we're actually able to get a couple players off this. Let me just scroll down a little bit here. 2016,
Twins?
We are talking about the 2016 Twins. They went 59-103 for a .364 winning percentage. So, yeah, they were bad.
2016 Twins.
2016.
All right. Let's think.
So, I'll give you a little bit of details just to try and just help you think a little less. The manager of this team was Paul Molitor.
Oh, I've Forgot he even managed.
Obviously, catcher's got to be Joe Mauer, right?
No.
Or first baseman.
2016. I think that might have been one of his last years, if not.
I think that was his last.
Ooh, I can tell you one of my favorite players of all time who is not a Hall of Famer was on that team.
Who's
he
that?
is now a member of John Boy, Trevor Plouffe.
Oh, you know who I forgot about was the twin for a while? Brian Dozier.
I wouldn't picture him on any other team.
Dozier had a year or two where he kind of moved around, and I was like, he doesn't look right out of Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, let's think about this. Who, if Joe Mauer was at first base, who got moved to catcher? I got it. If it's not it, I'm gonna be highly upset. Was it baseball's catcher Iron Man Kurt Suzuki?
Let's take a look. Woo!
That dude, it was.
Wow, what a fool! Holy shit!
Did he fully retire yet?
I think he did. I think he retired about 3-4 years ago.
He played a long time as a backup catcher / spot starter, and then eventually just starter, but not starter. He had a roller coaster of a career, dude. I've always liked Kurt Suzuki. I hated him when he was on the Nationals because for some reason it seemed like that motherfucker always did damage to the Phils.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. This pitching staff really wasn't that shitty. Like,
who was in the pitching staff?
They had some.
I know, former Phil, Kyle Gibson.
Kyle Gibson was in there.
Yeah,
they had Irvin Santana.
Ooh, Earthman.
Ricky Nolasco.
He's still alive.
Tyler Duffy. Phil Hughes.
All right, I just
a very young Jose Barrios.
Ooh.
And Michael Tonkin. Yeah, I don't know, man. The fact that this team lost over 100 games is kind of crazy.
Taylor Rogers, Ryan Presley, Phil Hughes.
That's nuts.
Ryan O'Rourke, Kevin Jepson. These are all really... What the fuck did they do wrong? Everyone just had such a bad year?
Dude, someone had to be hurt. Like that.
No, it's not someone had to be hurt. Their entire pitching staff, I think the lowest ERA was... I mean, it has to be Irvin Santana with 3.38.
Hold on, wait a minute. This is nuts. If this stat is what I think it is, I might shit an entire house.
Ooh.
Hold on here.
4
Oh my God, it is the year. You're telling me in Minnesota's worst year, 2016, that was the year Brian Dozier hit 42 home runs, a career high. You're telling me he couldn't do that in a great year? No, he picked the year where he almost had more home runs than they had goddamn wins. Jesus Christ, man. He really knows how to pick his time, man.
He was like 20 off of leading the entire team. Like if he had 62 home runs, the rest of the team would have had to have been like, dude, you have 6 homers less than us. Like, dude, I'm not kidding. Him and Aaron Hill, man. 2 slept on second baseman.
Aaron
that had
Hill.
amazing seasons out of nowhere, and that's all they did was just 1 or 2 great seasons.
I totally forgot about Aaron Hill. Aaron Hill had that fucking one crazy year.
With Toronto.
Yeah, 36 and 108 in 2009.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Dude, baseball's such a stupid game. I love it.
But, I mean, baseball's stupid, but it could also be led by stupid people, which you asked me a question, and I've thought about this for a while, and I finally have my answer. You asked me best manager of all time. Personal opinion, not stat-based. And I'm going to be honest with you. I took one on my own personal opinion and stat-based. Casey Stengel. Best manager of all time. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
From 1949 to 1953, we're talking a 5-year span. He won the World Series every single year. He won 7 total World Series as a Yankees manager, which is crazy. I mean, that's
Sure. Can't bitch about that ever.
5 straight
Insane.
years, you're automatically a Hall of Famer. But that is not what made him my favorite manager of all time. What made him my favorite was that when he turned 69, he was fired by the Yankees because the Yankees found him too old to manage. Now, mind you, he led them to a 97-57 record. 40 games over 500, and they said he's too old to manage. In 1962, he made his managerial return to what is now the New York Mets, and oh my God, let me tell you this. His first year with the Mets, they went 40-120. In his second year, 51-111. His third year, 53-109. And his last year, in his age 74, 31-64. This guy went from winning World Series 7 times over to managing the Mets that were a brand new team and just had no idea how to play baseball. And Casey Stengel is like, you know what? I never knew there were so many ways to lose until I joined the Mets organization. Like, they were dog shit. And Casey Stengel's just like, dude, I'm in my 70s. Why the hell would I care at this point? I give Casey so much credit because, he managed the best Yankees during that time. He was there for DiMaggio, Mantle, Barrett, studs, stud after stud down that whole lineup. Yeah. And Stengel loved Barrett, always played him. And then to go from this monster of a team like the Yankees,
Hall of Fame team,
to the New York Mets, who literally could not get out of their own way. So my favorite Met stat or fact, the Mets traded for a catcher for a player to be named later, right? This catcher was so goddamn awful. The Mets traded him back. He is still the first player to ever be traded for himself. Like the Mets traded for him for a player to be named later. Before they could even give them a player, they were like, dude, take this heaping pile of dog shit back, and he is the player to be named later. Only guy in history to be traded for himself.
Go away.
Insanity. But that leads me to yours. I mean, who's your favorite?
I mean, dude, I gotta go Jim Leland.
Oh,
Jim Leland, man. Anybody
smoking darts in the dugout, Leland?
Dude, ripping heaters. Heaters in that dugout. Dude, when some of the ballparks started banning tobacco, he went, so? Ain't stopping me. I'm Jim fucking
Leland.
So let's see. Jimmy Leland has 1 World Series win, three times. Manager of the year. 90, 92, and 06. It's a very long gap in between. He's a Hall of Famer. World Baseball Classic manager in 2017. And all around man's fucking man. You got a mustache like that, and you got that yellow stain from the heaters on your smokes while you're in that dugout and you're yelling, "Give me a lefty!" And everyone's like, "Jim, that's your right arm. You've had a little bit too much bourbon." He goes, "It's my left, woman." Jim Leland is the GOAT of humans. He's one of the GOATs of humans for this sport. Like, I remember growing up watching him coach for the Marlins. I'm like, why do they have this old timer? Like, what the hell? It's 1997. Why do they have this guy who's older than my grandpa? And then I'm like, dude, it's 2006, man. I graduated high school. What the fuck are you still doing? You're still managing? You're managing it's 2017? What the fuck?
Still doing the fucking thing, man.
Jim Leland is just a man's man. I don't care about like how many MVPs he's had as a manager. I don't care about all the players he's managed as a Hall of Famer, or which ones went to the Hall of Fame, or which ones have all these accolades. Jim Leland himself is a badass. Jim Leland might be one of the coolest men in American history.
Top 20.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a long list.
I think top 20 is fair.
It's a long list.
Oh, yeah. It's a very long list.
But Jim Leland is just awesome. Okay. Spike TV and Jim Leland are just synonymous. What men like? Jim Leland. What men like? Stuff that Spike TV used to play. I get it.
1,000 Ways to Die, Mansers.
What was it? The Warrior
The Man Show. Deadliest Warrior.
Yeah. Awesome.
I remember that.
Jim Leland should have his own show where he just sits on a porch in a rocking chair with a glass of scotch and a pack or two of heaters sitting right next to him and is just yelling at kids on the street. I'd watch the shit out of it. Watch the shit out of it.
So, can I give a managerial shout out to Lou Piniella?
Oh God, man. One of the biggest hotheads. One of the biggest hotheads
We
of all
do
time.
not give Lou Piniella enough credit for being an absolute animal when it came to... Dude, him and Carlos Zambrano going at it in the dugout in Chicago.
Amazing.
Every single start he had, dude, Lou Piniella was the king of ejections. I actually want to look up how many ejections did he go through? Because, dude, he was...
Not as many as Bobby Cox because he's the most.
Like, dude, Lou Piniella was racking them up for a couple years there.
When he managed the Rays and the Mariners, I know he got thrown out a lot. But the Cubs, it seemed like it was like twice a week.
Dude, he was getting tossed. Where is it? Where's ejections?
He was like, Bobby, you bringing me the lineup card? And, the home plate umpire's like, come on, dude, you got to hurry up. And he's like, all right, well, fuck you, Bobby. You're already kicked out. He's like, all right, fine. I want to do nothing anyway.
He had 64 total ejections. Lou Piniella, man. Fucking animal.
Now look up Bobby Cox. No one's going to break that record.
I'm actually interested because you're talking of Bobby Cox. Like, Bobby Cox has like a fucking 1,000 of them. 1978 to 2010. All right, Bobby, what you got for me? Bobby Cox ejections. Jesus H. Christ.
What did I tell you?
All right. You got me there.
It's an unbeatable record, dude.
Jesus Christ. For those who are listening and or watching, Bobby Cox has been tossed out 162 times.
It's 100 more than Pinella, dude.
21 times in Toronto and 141 times in Atlanta. Mind you, he spent 25 years in Atlanta. So anyone doing the math, 25 to 141, he pretty much got ejected. So he averaged about 5.6 ejections every single year for the Atlanta Braves. That is nuts. That is crazy.
Well, unfortunately, we're coming to an end right now. I want to hear your final thoughts.
Okay, I got one. Phillies got back from London. Seemed to hit a little bit of a roadblock against Boston. Kind of struggled against Baltimore a little bit. Came back home, got some home cooking. Got 2 or 3 from the Padres, which you always love to see.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper has been on an absolute tear since May. Hopefully he keeps it up. And on that note, Boston Red Sox are now on a little bit of a 5-game heater themselves. They're crawling out of the dungeon. So, yeah, both teams I enjoy are over 500 right now. I love the Tigers. Not sure where they're currently at, but considering Reese Olson can't help but lose games right now, I'm guessing it's not looking too hot for him. And for my last final thought on this day.
On this day, I can see clearly.
Pete Rose joined 4 players in Ty Cobb, Hank Aaron, Carl Yastrzemski, and Stan Musial. In 1982, Pete Rose played in his 3,000th Major League game.
Ooh, wow.
The 5th player to achieve that feat. Obviously, Pete Rose is a great baseball player, just a shitty person.
Awful human.
Yeah, but those are my final thoughts. Something quick and, just a little easy. But, Rich, what you got? Bottom of the 9th, baby.
And shout out to MLB for doing something that's never been done before. We have the Rick Woodfield game tonight. MLB, for the first time ever, has an entire African-American umpire staff. We have Alan Porter at home plate, Adrian Johnson at first base. He's the crew chief. We have Malachi Moore at second base. C.B. Buckner. Buckner. Why does everyone with that last name suck? And Jeremy Rehak, who is the replay official. So, if you're a fan of baseball, and you're one of those fans who listens at the beginning of the game when they're doing the scorecard exchange on basically the pregame for your local TV, you always get to see who the umpire staff is. I've heard each one of these names quite a few times in my life. They are all, with the exception of one, good umpires. I know Alan Porter is a pretty damn decent home plate umpire. Malachi Moore, I think he's one of the younger ones out of the group. I'm pretty sure he is. Same with Jeremy Rehak. I don't remember him behind home plate ever, but I know I've seen his name quite a few times. But I can tell you right now, and most people are going to tell you, C.B. Buckner, go suck a fucking egg.
Dog shit.
Dude, you're like 6'3" of asshole. Like, you are just... Ardley Emery said it best. My God, I didn't know they stacked shit that high. Dude.
He really does suck at his job.
But that's besides the point. I want to shout out the fact that for the Rick Woodfield game, they are doing the very first all-black umpiring crew in MLB history, AL/NL. Surprised that it hasn't happened before, even by accident, just with like scheduling.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, they're trying to elevate and modernize and make it so that more African American youth can appreciate the game. I mean, in fairness, I know there's more than 5 black umpires. Don't fucking put C.B. Buckner there because kids should not be looking up to him. Because that literally is telling you you can have such a powerful job and be dog shit at it. You can
He's got a
actually
point.
affect the outcome of careers. I mean, shit. What's his face do to Galarraga?
No, Jim Joyce.
Jim Joyce, dude. Galarraga was never the same after that.
See, the one thing I want to say, Jim Joyce blowing that call probably made Galarraga more famous than if he actually would have gotten that out.
Dude, I've throughout our lifetime since '89 to 92 for you, right?
93.
93, yeah. I mean, dude, all those years, there's been a lot of no hitters,
Yeah.
a lot of perfect games. Not a lot, but enough that you can't just remember it or count it on one hand or two hands. Dude, I don't remember them all, but I fucking remember that blown call.
Yeah. Like I said, that blown call pretty much made Galarraga more famous. Like, you could go back in the past decade and find pitchers who do a perfect game. You'll find one or two of them and be like, oh my God, dude, I forgot all about that one.
Fucking Clay Buchholz did it in his major league debut. Or he threw a no-hitter.
Wouldn't have even remembered it.
Yeah, I mean, cool. But also, like, the one thing I do admire about Jim Joyce doing that is the very next day, he held a press conference on his own and apologized and cried and said, I've ruined that kid's special night. That's on me. I'm sorry. I can't take it back. Nowadays, baseball's different, where there would have been a challenge. There would have been a replay. There's no fucking absolute ludicrous way. I'm not talking about Ludacris the rapper, Chris Bridges. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there's no asinine, stupid, ludicrous way that game would have ended that way.
No. Not a shot.
Not in today's game. There's no way any other umpire would have been like, we can't check it. We just can't. There's no way MLB would have allowed it. They would have called the dugout and be like, hey, listen, I know your guy hit that ball, but you need to tell the umpires they fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're the team being no hit. Tell them they fucked up. It would just be, it's too stupid to ignore now. So, thankfully, we have a very well-respected team umping tonight in the Rickwood games. I appreciate that, with the exception of one. But it's fantastic and well overdue.
I agree.
Not overdue that it had to happen, just overdue that it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it.
Yeah, like, I'm not one of those people where it's like, no, we need to do this. Because at that point, you're just like, do we? For what reason does it need to be done? It's just I'm surprised it hasn't happened. Like, baseball's been around a goddamn long time. We've had a lot of umpires. Surprised it just hasn't happened. But tonight is the most fitting place and scenery for it to possibly happen.
Well, if you really think about it, and shout out to Tyler on this one, our social media guy, for the facts on the pond for this week, you can find it on the Drunks on the Pond Instagram. Tyler does them once a week, does a great job. I actually just learned this
So much fun
today. Shout out to him. On September 1st of 1971, the Pirates fielded the first all-black lineup which included the likes of Roberto Clemente, shout out, another Hall of Fame legend, and Willie Stargell, shout out again, another Hall of Fame legend. So baseball is slowly starting to get to a point where, they're always going to find something new to do. And, I really can't wait to see what they do next. And it's only a matter of time till we get another celebration, whether it's for the Negro Leagues or whatever they come up with. But all I know is I'll be damn happy to watch it.
I mean, you and I both know baseball is the most inclusive game in America.
Yeah.
By far, it's the most inclusive. I don't remember the actual stats, but I remember when I was younger, I must have been early teens. At one point, there was like 64 countries represented.
Which is insane.
That's outrageous. Guess how many countries are represented in the NFL? 6.
Yeah, I must say maybe 5 or 6, maybe at most.
Yeah. I mean, basketball, it's gotten a lot better because of Europe and the fact that it's not just a bunch of Americans dominating the sport and then playing a bunch of people who are like, the basketball. And they're like, USA.
It's like, watch me windmill dunk on your head and make you never want to play this game again. Yeah.
We only play with baskets and oranges in our country. Huh. Dude, soccer, I mean, that's the most diverse sport in the world. But as of right now, the MLB, it's got to be second.
It's definitely up there. It's close.
It's got to be second. It's respectable.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, you know what time it is?
Time to wrap it up.
Guys, we're closing the book on the night. We love you. Thank you so much. This is a little bit longer of an episode than usual, but that's because we just had so much fun talking to you, at you, and for you. So thank you guys, and be sure to like us on everything and love us on everything, but also leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
I agree. On that note, I'm Jay. That right there, that's Rich. Drunks on the Pond, episode 14, coming to a close. We will be back next Saturday, same time as usual. And always remember, stay drunk. Z, hit the music, baby. Let's get on out of here.